Incoming presidents are supposed to think big, at least that's what we've come to expect. And Joe Biden has his sights set on immigration reform. The Biden plan does not include more border wall construction, as you might imagine. It does include a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants and a fast track for some essential workers and people protected under the DACA program. Now, TJ, let me start there. This is a huge swing to take at first pitch. Just the same, though, both Republicans and Democrats want reform. They do want reform. Everybody wants reform. What do you see here from this early?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've said this from the beginning that if Biden really wanted to start to unite us all and make peace with the other side, he should choose an issue that is important to the other side, very important to them. I suggested this way back, that coming up with a bipartisan, common sense immigration and border security plan would be the perfect way to start. Now, of course, what's going to happen? He's got his plan that's going to go to Congress, and I'm sure what he is proposing would not be the end all. I'm sure it will be debated. Hopefully, it will be debated. They will come up with a bipartisan plan and then send it back to him. But I mean, it's a huge issue. Talked to Steve Pierce a couple of years ago about this, and he said, look, this actually is simpler than you think. He says there is so much consensus on both sides with common sense border security and immigration that it can be solved, he said. And if, Steve Pierce tells me this can be solved working in a bipartisan manner, I tend to believe him.
I'm actually touching my earpiece, make sure I heard that correctly. That's amazing.
Well,
wow.
Right. So yes, I think it was a brilliant first move on the Biden administration's part. I mean, again, I just want to reiterate, what's going to go to Congress is not what we're going to see come out of Congress.
Good point. Hey, Sophie, and on that note, Sophie, interesting, TJ just put it up that way. Early reaction, Marco Rubio, Chuck Grassley, Tom Cotton. The amnesty word is back, and it didn't take but 3 hours to throw it out there after Biden put the plan out. What's your sense of it?
I think it's interesting that you bring up Marco Rubio, and before I sort of launch into him, I just want to make the point that this issue, the immigration issue, really touches New Mexico from the southern border to the northern and from east to west, whether it is concerns about folks coming up through ranches in the southern part of the state who the green chili, who's picking our green chili here in New Mexico, to dreamers living in various parts of the state who are actively involved in our lives. That I'm not putting that well, but we have professionals at every level. I think people tend to think of immigrants as not really filling our entire community, but in New Mexico, certainly that is the case. So this is essential for us, and it is a crisis for us here in New Mexico that hasn't been addressed. I love TJ's point that that there is the possibility for consensus here. I mean, I just remember the Bush Republicans saying, we want this too. Business wants it too. I think it's very disingenuous, frankly, of Marco Rubio, who was very involved in the last major push for immigration reform, to be talking about amnesty and oh, my stars and garters. I think what we're looking at there, unfortunately, is a Republican caucus. And this is how politics work, right? They're looking for their pound of flesh here.
A little,
for other things. And so when they act like this can't be done, I think to Steve Pierce's point, and knowing the history of the Republican Party, you should be able to get it done. It's what we're going to have to trade with each other in order to make that happen. That I think is the source of some heartburn.
Steve, TJ makes an excellent point. It seems to me the more I'm thinking about it, more Sophie's making the point as well. That let's assume there's some kind of success here. That would be an extraordinary leap forward for this country in one fell swoop, if you think about it. Just some kind of immigration reform. But let me talk specifics with you, though, too. This is interesting. In case anybody watching doesn't know, this only applies to undocumented immigrants in the U.S. as of January 1st of this year. Yeah. That's a very, very key distinction. And like Sophie says, and TJ, the negotiation is going to start from there, so to speak. So I'm curious to your sense of this as you're hearing the other two go through this.
I'm cynical.
Are you?
I'm more cynical than TJ or Sophie. We've seen this so many times before. One man's common sense is another man's lunacy. So it's, I don't know. I'll believe it, and I hope it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everybody's right, but hope everybody takes this opportunity. But I don't know. We've come off, all these years of partisanship, even before Trump, and it's only gotten worse, and it's not going to get better overnight. I noticed in one of the national accounts I read about it, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader, majority leader, didn't seem real key on. He said, "Well, we've got to deal with COVID-19 and some of this other stuff first," and I think they may be punting it, kicking the can down the road, as the saying goes, and perhaps for good reason. So,
are we all?
I remain very skeptical.
Steve, is that skepticism? And you wouldn't be alone, by the way, on your skepticism.
Yeah.
Are we all triggered up by immigration? You think about it. We've been screaming at each other for like 30 years on this, with barely any movement. And I say again, if something can crack here, I got to think it would work out for the Biden administration in tremendous ways if you can take advantage of what little bipartisanship that comes early in a situation and just try to do something with it. Still,
one area where there might be some cause for optimism is the Dreamers, DACA. When you have this huge bill with all these various aspects, which sometimes is necessary, of course, but I think if they could just do a separate thing on the Dreamers, make that, and then DACA, I think they could get a lot of bipartisan support from that.
That's right.
And you start from there, and then, maybe the amnesty work wouldn't.
I think too, though, it's not just Dreamers, but there's also, I think, an argument to be made, as has been made in the past, that many of our healthcare workers, are affected by this issue. And right now, when you say we need to support our healthcare workers, there may be some room there. We really have, especially with some of the other immigration programs that have been constrained by the Trump administration, we have a lot of need for people who are working in these essential areas, and many of them are currently or potentially occupied jobs that are occupied by immigrants.
That's a very good point. Sophie. Interesting. It's going to be about filling jobs and getting needs met, partly. TJ, quick point here, too. We've got about a minute and a half, or about a minute. Here's the path to a green card. 5 years of paying taxes, passing a background check, and other hurdles. Dreamers could apply immediately. That just came up just a second ago. And once the green card is issued, it's another 3 years to naturalize citizenship. And that's the 8 years Biden's talking about. It's super aggressive when you think about it, compared to what we have been used to for years and years and years and years. Is that number going to be a gag for folks? Is 8 years just going to be a little too quick for some people out there?
Well, too quick is interesting, because this has to be addressed immediately.
Right.
Well, the thing is, but to your point, 30 years, we've been waiting for a real solution on this. 8 years, man. Well, the one thing too is with the Dreamers, with the people who are undocumented in this country, if we expect them to actually come out and say, okay, we trust the United States government now. We're going to register with the United States government because we trust you that you're not going to just deport us. So you need somehow for the government to garner that trust from the people that we're speaking with. Plus, also, I'm going to go back to another point. I know we don't have much time. We need these workers. There is so much hypocrisy right now, grandstanding about not needing. We need these workers to do the jobs in our food processing plants and jobs that other Americans will not take. And there's a huge amount of hypocrisy there that has to be addressed.
Good point. Good final point on that one. This group returns one last time to talk about the FBI arrest of the leader of the Cowboys for Trump organization and lingering issues for Republicans who cozied up to the group.